Hi guys, it's Lily, and today I wanted to show you my exciting new Hobonichi purchase. This isn't actually really new. I've been waiting for this since the end of August, when the new Hobonichi 2016 line first went online. But it was not going on sale until the 1st of October, so I waited until the 1st of October. And then it turned out that even though they were on sale, they were only dispatching from the end of October. So it just arrived today. It actually got here pretty quickly because it didn't stay in customs for very long. So, yay! So this is an interesting cover. This is called the SSACK cover, as you can see. And I haven't seen any discussions of these on YouTube, so I thought it would be nice to make a video in case anyone is trying to decide whether or not to get one and is curious to find out more about them. So this is a silicone cover. You are undoubtedly familiar with the material if you've ordered anything from Hobonichi before, because it's exactly the same material that the famous cute but not very useful tissue cases come in. And it comes in the same colors as well, I think, because as you can see, this SSACK cover is the same color as this tissue case. And usually, well, from last year's experience anyway, the tissue cases sort of came in a few different colors, like you might get a random selection and it's the same colors that these are made in this year. I mean, last year's tissue cases came in the same colors as last year's SSACK covers, and seems to be the same scheme this year. So if you've had one of the tissue cases, you already know what the material is like. It's really smooth, and it's just like kind of very stretchy, rubbery silicone. So it's a really cool material, and I was kind of intrigued by the idea of a cover made out of that. I didn't get one last year. Last year was the first year that they were selling them. So it's a relatively new addition to the Hobonichi line. But I didn't like last year's because they had this like kind of triangular closure, like a sort of envelope flap, and I don't like flaps on covers. I like it when they just like I don't like trifolds or, you know, sort of anything like that. So that was just a personal aesthetic preference. So I didn't get one last year, but I was kind of intrigued by the concept of a silicone cover. And so when they came out this year and they changed the design, I liked the new design. And so I kind of immediately knew that I wanted to try them. So I got an A6 and an A5. And I just thought I would like kind of unbox the A6 so you can see what it looks like, because it comes in different packaging than the other Hobonichi covers, at least than the basic colors collection. So this is what it looks like. It comes in this plastic box and it says Hobonichi Tetra cover, SSACK. I'm not sure why there are two S's at the beginning. If anyone has a theory on that, let me know. So you open it, which I will attempt to do. Let's see. And then it has this like kind of cardboard cover, and then here is the cover. So you can see that it has this closure. It's all made out of the same material. It's like, it kind of feels like it's made out of a single piece, although obviously it can't be, but you can't really see. You can see some seams here just on the underside, but other than that, it looks pretty seamless. So it has this strap. And then when you open that, it says SSACK in the same, it's kind of hard to see, but it's the same font as this. Let's see if I bring it up close, if it's any easier to see. There. And then when you open it, so this is the A6 one, by the way, if I didn't mention. It has this like little flap that you can use to keep your page, which I'll demonstrate in a minute when I put Techo in it. And then it has this little flap, which is supposed to be like either for credit cards or business cards, or more likely for planner people, like stickers and stuff like that. And then you see that the whole thing is made out of silicone, so it's really cool. It's like very floppy. Then it has a single bookmark, which is just cut out of the same material. And then it has this other flap so this is where both sides are where you stick the Techo in. And then it has this pen loop. I'll show you how this works in a minute. This is different from the other Hobonichi pen loops in that, you know, they're kind of famous. The Hobonichi covers are famous for their butterfly clasp, the big clasp that you can fit a lot of pens into. This is like the opposite. It's totally minimalist. You can only fit the clip of a pen into it. You can't like fit a whole pen in it. And there's only one, which is why it has this, because you can't use the clasp to close the cover, unlike the the normal Hobonichi design. And then on the back it's blank. Okay, so let's just put a techo inside. So this is the first half of my 2016 Avec set, and you just put this in like kind of the same way as you would put a techo in any other cover. I'm always like kind of doing a terrible job of this, and it looks really bad, so I apologize. It never looks pretty. Okay, there, it's in. So you can see that it fits pretty snugly. Keep in mind that this is the Avec, so this is only half the size of the normal the original. So if you had the original, it would fit much more snugly than this. There's still some room in here, and you'll see what it would look like when I show you my cousin, because I've got the full year version of the cousin. So there's a bit of room, but it kind of, as you would imagine, being silicone, it kind of hugs it. So it's a very like sort of like sleek fit. I kind of think of it as sort of like fitting like a glove. And the result is that the book with the cover is smaller than it would be if you had a normal Hobonichi cover. So for comparison, you can see this is the second half of my Avec set, and I've just put this in one of the sort of typical basic colors range of the Hobonichi covers, and you can see that it's quite a lot bigger even without the cover on cover. So this is like really form-fitting. It just is like kind of almost the exact size of the techo and nothing more, which I like. I think that that's a really nice feature, because one of the things that appeals to me about the A6 size is that it's so small, and by the time you put the cover on, especially if you add the cover on cover, but even if you don't, it kind of bulks it up a lot. So you can see that this is already quite a bit bigger, whereas this is just like almost as light as it is without a cover at all. And so I think that that's really nice. So that's just to give you a sort of idea of what it would look like if you sort of got it out of the package, and kind of how you would put it on and what it would look like on the original. Now let's look at the cousin version, which I've already put on. I put it on earlier today, and I've like kind of been using it throughout the day. So I've sort of got some comments about things I like and things I dislike about it. So you'll see straight away that this is a different color. For the A6, it comes in this light blue, this navy blue, and also a pink. And then for the cousin, it only comes in navy blue and what they call, I think they call it lemon green, but it looked like a kind of a sort of yellowy greeny color to me, and this was the one that I liked the best out of those two. So this only comes in 2 colors, this one comes in 3 colors, and only the navy comes in both. So I don't know why they did it like that, but that's how it is. But I like both of these blue colors, so that was fine with me. And the navy one is actually, I mean, I guess it is navy, but it's kind of sort of a light navy, so it's quite a sort of like nice, rich, dark blue. I think it's coming up pretty true to life on camera, maybe a little bit lighter than it is in real life, but it's a nice color. And I don't really like navy generally, but to me it seems like a sort of bit more of a sort of rich dark blue than what I would think of as a typical navy. So yeah, in terms of colors, if you like blue, I think either of these shades will you'll be happy with. Okay, so yeah, in terms of like kind of how it actually works, there's some things that I really like about it and some things that I'm not too happy with. So one of the reasons that I wanted to get one of these was just because I liked the idea of the feel of the cover of the silicone, and in that I was not disappointed. It's really satisfying. It feels like you would imagine a silicone cover to feel. It's like really sleek and smooth, like kind of soft to the touch, and because it fits so well, it just like somehow it's really satisfying. It's hard to describe, but I know that you fellow planner addicts will understand. It just has a really like satisfying, like kind of solid, it just like kind of wraps around the tetra really nicely, so you feel like you're just holding onto that and not a lot of cover. Whereas by contrast, when I had this cover, which is what I was using up until now, since I got this in February, this is not the basic range. This is this was like kind of a special edition. It's a weave, so it's like a fabric, like a cotton woven texture. So, and it has a synthetic leather inner cover, so it's a bit thicker, and like kind of a bit bulkier than the basic range would be, because I had a basic cousin cover, so sort of to compare them, I know that this is a bit thicker, but not a gigantic amount thicker. And one of the things about this that is that the pen loops, you could still fit, so this is a 0.7 friction pen with the clicker, and these are pretty thick. Like I can't get these to fit in any Filofax pen loop, even the elasticated ones, but it fits in here no problem. And I could probably fit another pen in here if it was a really thin one. And then obviously you can put another pen loop in here, but it's, you can't fit as many pens in here as you could the normal nylon range. So just to give you an idea, this is a bit bulkier. So if you had one of the basic covers, it would probably be somewhere in the middle. But going from this to this is just like really a delight because it feels so compact. So I really like that about it. And I like the basic range, but my problem with them is that they get dirty really easily unless you use a cover on cover. And as I have said many times before, I don't like the cover on covers at all. I don't know what it is about them, but there's something that I find repellent about them. I can't stand them. So I'm always looking for Hobonichi covers that don't need a cover on cover or that can't take one. So that they're not expecting you to have one, I guess, because they will kind of be more durable. And so I'm not sure, obviously, because I've just got this and I've only been using it for a day. I'm not sure how this will hold up, but my impression was that silicone is a pretty like hard wearing material. So I thought that it would probably be quite durable. There is one thing though, that in terms of the sort of durability and like kind of how it looks, that I've been kind of disappointed about, which is that on the website it says that for 2016 they have improved the scratch resistance and like kind of dust repellent ability from compared to last year. But I don't know if you can see this, but like I said, I've only had this today and I've only had it inside. I haven't even put it in my bag, and so you can see already like dust, fur, any kind of particles of matter just stick to this, like it's like a magnet, and it's really difficult to get it off. I'm sure it wouldn't be hard to get it off if you like kind of used a cloth or something, but like it's really clingy material, so like to wipe it down with your hands, it doesn't come off very easily. And also it's something of a magnet for like fingerprints as well. So again, because it's silicone, I'm sure that it will all like wash off. It's not like, I'm not concerned about permanent stains, but just like if you imagine I carry this around in my bag, I have it with me all the time. It's like really, I'm not delicate with this because this is my work planner and I use it a lot. So it kind of, I can see that it will get pretty mucky quite quickly, which it's not like a huge issue because like, again, it is removable. Even if you kind of like do this enough, it will come off, but that's just something to be aware of, which I wasn't expecting. I think because they had this explanation, I thought like, they've made it stain resistant or dust resistant, but obviously last year it must have been a really big problem. And so if they've improved it, it's still not like, it's perfect. And maybe that's just something to do with the nature of silicone. I'm not sure. Like, I think the only silicone things that I've ever used are like some kind of kitchen equipment. So, like I don't know if this is just a problem that you get with silicone, but it's not at all a deal breaker. I still, really like the appearance and I think it's worth it, but it's just something to be aware of. Okay, so then moving on, who knew that someone could talk so much about a cover, but there is a lot of stuff to mention. So the strap, I love how it looks and it keeps this closed, like it's really solid. You just feel like there's no danger that this is going to fall open or that the strap is going to come off. Again, probably partly because of the material. It's really like kind of stretchy and clingy, so it's just like you can hear It's like elastic, it stays on. But that's also a drawback, because when you go to open it, look, this is me just opening it, like it's kind of a struggle compared to the normal Hobonichi cover, which, well, I always kept 2 pens in this, so I didn't actually use this as a clasp, but there was a period when I experimented with using, just putting 1 pen in and keeping it closed like this, and this is all you do to open it. It's easy. Whereas you just saw, like, opening this, it's kind of, okay, it's not like, you know, it's not a gigantic problem. It's not insurmountable, but it takes a bit longer than I'm used to. It's sort of more of it's more work. And it also sometimes, I'll show you when I put it back on again, it kind of, that's how hard it is to put on. Like, maybe I'll get used to it, but I kind of feel like it was designed sort of more with the aesthetic rather than the functionality in mind, although maybe I'll change my mind as I've been using it for longer. But just kind of first day impression, it's like I kind of feel like leaving it open unless I absolutely really have to close it, which is okay. Like I do leave it open a lot, you know, because if I'm working on something, I'll just leave it open for a few hours. But the idea that I kind of have to leave it open because like it's too hard to close is not something that I'm extremely happy with. And the other thing is that when you open it, as you can see, it kind of catches on the pen loop. And I haven't had the pen come out, but I just feel like there's sort of, you can see the whole thing is like more awkward than I would like, and than I'm used to with the other covers. So when we open it, I'm not sure about this. I tried putting this on my months column, or my months, like opening it to my monthly spread, and it closes fine, if you're worried about that, because you might think that it would sort of like, you know, sort of mess up the pages, and it doesn't really. It holds everything okay, and you can still close it as much as you can ever close it. You can still close it with that, like that, and it's fine. So I think that would work okay. I'm not sure how well it would work if you wanted to use it to mark something, you know, kind of further in the book so that it had more surface area to cover. But for something near the beginning, like the monthly spread, it works fine. I don't actually reference my monthly spread that often, so I'm not sure if I'll keep it like that. I sort of decided that it was probably easier just to keep it like this, because I actually use the things in here more than I use the monthly spread. And I've got it tabbed anyway. So, yeah, another thing that is something of a shock compared to the normal Hobonichi cover design is the lack of pockets. So I don't know why they decided to do this. I don't know if it was because they were just going for like a kind of very sleek minimalist look, or because of technical reasons, like because of the material it was harder to make pockets. But you go from having all of these pockets plus this one to just having this one slot. And by the way, this is something that's, I think, slightly different on the A6, is just the design. So on the A6 it's reversed for some reason. I don't know why. You've got the slot here and then the flap here, and on this one you have the flap here and then the slot down there. It's the same number of slots, i.e. 1, and then 1 flap. It's just that they put them in reverse order. And you can see the same thing with this, by the way. Even though this has got the avec in it, which is thinner, it's still like kind of a chore to open and close it. But it looks pretty. So yeah, you really lose pockets. And I knew about this because they tell you on the website, like the website doesn't make a secret of this. And I decided that because this is my work planner and I don't really do any decoration in this, and I've only got a few functional stickers, that it wouldn't be a problem. And I thought it would be all right. So I've put these arrows in here and my stickers here, and that's fine. And then in back, there's nothing, right? There's only the flap that the tetra goes into. So I've put my stencil, which I use a lot, and sticky notes. And then this is just something temporarily that I'm keeping. So if you don't do a lot of decoration, it works fine. If you decorate your Hobonichi, then I wouldn't recommend it, because it's going to be frustrating unless you get those folders, the like sort of the clear Hobonichi folders. I'll show you these folders. They come in packs of 3 on the Hobonichi website, or I'm sure you could get them from somewhere else. or similar ones. And you can keep stickers in them. So then you could, if you had like, I don't know, 4 of these or something for different types of stickers, you could put them in here and that would solve the problem. So it's not like the end of the world, but just another thing to keep in mind if you're thinking about this cover, that it has a serious lack of pockets. Another issue that I wanted to mention is the bookmark. So unlike the normal Hobonichi covers, which have 2 bookmarks, this one just has 1. And then it also has this flap that you can use as a bookmark. So for me, this is fine because, as I've mentioned before in other videos, I don't actually like the Hobonichi bookmarks. I used them for the first few months, and I just found them to be kind of annoying. I prefer to be able to go straight to my page via a top tab or a side tab. So as you can see, that's what I did. I stuck side tabs and a couple of top tabs on everywhere. And I just, when I was using this cover, I just like kind of stuck the bookmarks inside so that they didn't get in the way and I couldn't even see them. So I would actually be fine if this had no bookmarks. And I thought that I'd experiment with the bookmarks, seeing whether or not I liked it. And I've just put it in my weekly view because that's the one that I use the most often. I've got a pencil board which arrived in the same shipment, and I'm trying this out in the daily page. I use the daily pages for notes, but I started using the daily page, the daily page of the date that it is, just to write a list of like kind of work gratitude things at the top. And I still use the rest of the daily pages for notes without regard for what day it actually is. So I'm using that, and I'm using this to mark the weekly page, which I also have a side tab for. So this is kind of redundant, but I thought since it's there, I might as well try it out because unlike the normal ones, which you can kind of easily tuck in the back so that you don't see them, or you could actually even cut these off pretty easily. With this, because it's made out of silicone and it's joined on to this, I'm not sure how easy it would be to cut it off. It might actually be pretty easy. So you could just cut this off and like kind of it would be seamless if it annoyed you. So I'll see how it goes. I'm not sure yet. At the moment, I'm finding it pretty convenient because it just like it opens. Because it's silicone, again, it's a bit stronger than these ones are. So you can like kind of just pull it and it opens to the right place. So far, I actually find this less annoying than the normal Hobonichi bookmarks. Again, because it depends on which one you're using. If you're using the A6, then you don't have a problem at all because you've got this flap which can mark your months, and then you've got the bookmark which can mark your days. And that's all you need. You don't have any other views to look at. Whereas if you've got the cousin, you've got the monthly, the weekly, and the daily. So it's the same situation as if you're using a normal Hobonichi cover, which only has 2 bookmarks. It's kind of like they're designed with the original in mind. So because you've got 3 views, really you're in the same position as if you had one of these standard Hobonichi covers. So I don't think that you're at a disadvantage in terms of bookmarks with the SSACK, despite the fact that it only has 1 real bookmark, because it's got this flap which acts as a bookmark. And I actually think that the flap, if you're using it for the monthly view, the flap might be less annoying than the actual bookmarks are. So yeah, but it is a bit different. In terms of the design, it's just like a straight piece of silicone, and then it's slightly pointed at the end. Let's see if you can see that. It's like it's cut on a bias. So it doesn't have any of the design features of the normal Hobonichi bookmarks. It doesn't have the arrow or the circle. It just like kind of ends abruptly, but it's cut at this angle. So I think that this is fine. I would have been equally happy if they didn't have it, but it doesn't bother me. I think it's okay. If it starts to bother me, then I'll probably try cutting it off, or else I would stick it behind, but I think it would be a bit lumpy. So it's thicker than the ribbon Hobonichi bookmarks on the other cover. So I think it might not be a good idea to try to stick it behind. Anyway, so that's the bookmark. And then the final issue is the pen loop. So as I've already mentioned, I've gone from having 2 pens to just having the 1. In terms of how it works fine. You can stick the clasp in really easily. It's not difficult. I think that probably this would work for any type of pen clasp pretty much, because you know, they're normally like this, more or less. So like this one, which is a thicker pen, and a slightly thicker clasp, but like it still fits fine, and that was what it was designed for. So as long as your pen has a clasp, you'll be fine, I think. If your pen doesn't have a clasp, then you have to get a different pen if you want to use this cover. So that's not an issue, but I do have two issues with the pen loop. One is that it just, because it's only using the clasp, the pen feels really exposed, as opposed to the normal covers like this, where it's really like kind of secure. It's kind of all the way in, you know, like it's just kind of, it stays there. Whereas this is kind of, I don't think that it's really in danger of falling out because this is silicone. So it's kind of like clingy and it will hold on to the clasp, but it does that. So I don't know if that would be an issue for you or not. It's not like the end of the world for me, but it is something that I'm kind of a bit like, oh, I'm not used to the pen like doing that. But that's how it was designed. So then also, like, you know, as you've seen, when you close it, you kind of have this pen, the pen locks into it. And when the tetra is actually closed, it's fine. As you can see, it is sort of on the outside, so it's exposed, but it's not really an issue. And you can still, like, you can take it out. You could either put it this way or you could put it this way. But if you did that, then it would kind of, I tried that and I decided I didn't like it because then it like bangs into the table when you put it down. So I think it's better keeping the pen on the inside. In which case it's sort of slightly bangs into either the tabs if you're using side tabs, or in this case I've got a Today Hobonichi pencil board. Again, not a major issue, but it's just like a little bit awkward. And then the final problem is, of course, that you only have room for one pen. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that because I've been using the black pen and a red pen. I only use a red pen for like kind of, you know, occasionally marking something sort of that I want to particularly stand out, and for marking off days on the monthly spread. So it's not like I absolutely need this. I could survive without it. And I'm going to try that and see how it goes, because I think overall, despite the issues, I'm still like really excited about this, and I love the way it feels, and I love how like kind of sleek and compact it is. And this was getting like really manky. I'd had it for 6 months. I'm not sure how well it's showing up on camera, but this started off, in my memory at least, looking, I'm sure it was much cleaner and much wider, and now it's kind of turning a bit gray. And it was just starting to feel like kind of like an old, like sort of like an old gray jumper that had been washed too many times and was sort of looking past its best. Some of that psychological, because, you know, I knew that the new covers were coming out, but I really wanted to try this anyway. So overall, I'm happy with these. I think that they look really cool. And I like the way that they feel, and I think that they should be long lasting. The only drawbacks to them are that they attract dust, this kind of closing issue, which might improve. And again, it's not like it's the end of the world, but it is sort of a bit frustrating. I think that's my major complaint about them. And then the kind of weird pen loop design issue. So it's quite a departure from the traditional Hobonichi covers, because I think normally, even if you get you know, one of the sort of specialty designs like this one, they still usually have the same like kind of pocket configuration and the butterfly clasps and the back pocket, which, by the way, you've probably already noticed that this doesn't have a back pocket. So those things for my purposes don't really bother me, because I never use the back pocket on this anyway, so I won't miss it. And for both of these, I'm not intending to do decorating really, so I don't mind the lack of pockets. And like I said, you could find ways to get around that if you put in folders, or like sticker savers, and like it's okay, but it's not as easy to, you know, just, you have to kind of think of a way around it. So really my only major complaint is the sort of the way that it closes, and the fact that you can only put one pen in it, which of course, compared to most planner covers or you know, ring binders, is not an issue, because usually they only have one pen loop anyway. So I guess if you're used to the Hobonichi covers, you kind of, you know, you get used to being able to have lots of pens, and then when that's taken away, you're like, what? Where am I going to put all of my pens? So yeah, I think probably a lot of it is individual. Overall, I really like it. I'll let you know how it goes when I've been using it for longer. But hopefully this was useful if you were curious about the SSACK covers and weren't sure whether or not it was worth trying them. The other thing about them is that they're really cheap. They're actually cheaper than the basic range of Hobonichi covers. So that's something else. If you're not sure, it's not like a gigantic investment because, you know, with a lot of the other specialty covers, they can get quite expensive, but these aren't at all. So if you think that you like the look of it and you know about these potential drawbacks and you kind of still think you might want to try it, it's not like you'll be investing huge amounts of money in it. So yeah, I hope that was helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions that I haven't answered about these. And I'll be back soon with some more videos because I've got some other things to show you. So as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.